Hello team. How's everybody doing? It's so hot in my room and I can't turn on the AC because it's gonna get all up in here. So we're going to see how long this video goes. If I will keel over from heat stroke or will I finish this video? There's only two options for us at this point. Hope everyone's been well. It feels like it's been about a lifetime since I filmed, but it's only really been like 2 weeks. But welcome back to Future Viber. This is a channel where I talk about, you know the drill. I'm not gonna do the intro anymore. This is, you know why you're here, and I know why you're here. Yeah, I was just saying, like, it feels like it's been a lifetime. I started my new job, and that's been an adjustment period of 2 weeks. I didn't really do anything, but it feels really busy. So that's where my brain has been at these past couple of weeks. But on that note, I did get a lot of knitting done. Chaotic brain state equals a lot of new cast-ons, so I didn't really exactly finish anything. But, well, okay, I shouldn't say anything. I did finish a couple things, but it's mostly been new things. So you're going to get a lot of new information today, courtesy of me. Oh yeah, that interview that I did with Amanda from Knits by Mandy went up earlier this week. It seems to have gotten a lot of good reactions from people, so I'm really happy to hear that. But it's like, honestly, like, what bad reaction could you have? Because, like, Amanda's so funny. I laughed a lot, like, while I was editing that video. So yeah, hope to do more of those soon with other creators. I have a little bit of a list in my mind, but we'll see who is down to waste an hour of their time with me. So we'll see how that goes. But if you have any suggestions of somebody you'd really like to see, leave them down in the comments, and go check out that video if you haven't done so yet. It's very funny, if I do say so myself. Let's start with finished objects. I have two. The first thing, it feels like I finished this like so long ago, but it was really like I finished it right after I filmed the last podcast episode, basically. But this is the Stella top. And this is a tank top pattern by Tweedysheep. And I knit this with 100% silk that I got from Colourmart. I don't know the makeup of the silk or whatever, but it's basically like fingering weight. I bought it as like an equivalent to Knitting for Olive silk, pure silk, which I'll also talk about a little bit. Oh my god, is that a dog? Oh, okay, anyway. Yeah, I mean, I talked about this a lot. This has been in progress for quite a bit. I've given it a couple wears since I finished it. So I guess I have some more information about the wearability of this garment. I would say the first thing is I do like my choice in fiber for this garment. I did knit it with silk. Well, one, because I had it and I wanted to use it, but also two, because I wanted it to be a little bit drapier. And I do like the drape of the overall finished object. I will say it's a little bit sheer. It's a little bit see-through. Well, okay, well, you can kind of tell. It's like not terrible, but if you wear like a bra under, well, you kind of have to wear a bra underneath. It's gonna show through. So yeah, that's part of the consideration. Another thing that I kind of mentioned in the last podcast episode was that I knit the straps kind of short. They are short still. I'm not gonna undo them though, because I just don't feel like undoing the I-cord from I have to basically undo all of the I-cord if I want to make the straps longer, and that is out of the question. So you can tell that it's too short because underneath the armpits, you can kind of tell how the fabric has like bowed out this way. It's because like it's sitting right up against my, not like totally up against it, but like pretty close to my armpit. And I personally don't really mind that much. I mean, in the summertime, you get a little sweaty down there, but it's not, I don't sweat so much that it really stains clothes or anything like that. And I don't go outside, so usually not that terrible. So that's that. I don't mind that too much. And it's not a thick fabric where it's like bothering me every time I put my arms down or anything like that. But the problem is it did bring up the neckline overall higher because the straps are shorter, and the overall length of the garment is a little bit shorter on me than I would like. So I have a couple of options, as I mentioned before. I only really have one option if I want to change the length of the garment, and that is to pick up the stitches down the bottom hem, and you start with a 1x1 rib. So what I would do is just put in a lifeline, rip out all the bottom hem or cut it off or whatever, and then I would knit a 1x1 rib hem to be longer, and then finish with sewn bind off. So that is definitely an option. Will I do it? Probably not. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I don't know about like how wearable it'll be. Yeah, just because it's not, I do have like considerations I need to make before I like choose to put this on myself. It's not something that I can like throw on and go. So I definitely do want to, I like the pattern a lot, or like the final result of the pattern. I didn't think the knitting process of it was as like enjoyable as it could be, because I found the pattern on the main body like really difficult to memorize. So I was having to look at the knitting a lot more than I usually would. So I would do it again, definitely, but I would use the yarn weight recommended, which is kind of like lighter sport weight yarn. And I think I would do it with, I don't know if I would do it with cotton. Like it might be heavy. Maybe like a bamboo or maybe linen blend of some sort, and not silk, so that I could have different vibes in the next one that I knit. But I definitely do want another one. I just don't know if it's going to happen this summer. Well, first of all, because I don't have any yarn for it, but also just like I don't want to do the same thing again so soon, if you catch my drift. So that's that on the Stella top. I know I also posted on my Instagram stories, for a day the designer had made this pattern free like a week or so ago. So I know a lot of people got in on that and got the pattern. So I'm excited to see more people knit this up in their different versions. So I'll use that as a data point the next time I knit another one. But overall, I recommend it. I think the final result is super nice. I just do think that I would knit the body longer, and as well as the straps longer in my next iteration. Okay, so that's Stella top. And then now we're, I don't know what it is with me in summer, but I really like and gravitate towards crochet projects in the summer. So, and it's been kind of some sort of a tradition for me to make a lot of, at least attempt to make one like raffia or crochet bag every summer. So I have the one for SS 2023 here, and this is a bag. I don't know what to say about it, honestly. Like, it's kind of inspired by Dragon Diffusion, like their how do you pronounce that? Cannage? I think it's cannage. Like the pattern of like the basket weave kind of pattern like that. So it was kind of inspired by that, and I mashed a couple of different YouTube tutorials together to make this. So I'll try and find them and link them down below. Unfortunately, they're all in Korean and I don't think they have subtitles, but if you're a crocheter, I feel like you can figure it out, and I'm not a crocheter, so yeah. It's got 2 straps, but they're like basically 1 strap because I like tied them like that together so that they don't like come apart, question mark. And it's got a leather bottom to it. So I had this yarn, paper yarn, raffia, whatever, left over from making my other summer bag, basket bag last summer. So I made this to use up all of it, but I knew that I wanted to have like a solid base for it. So I bought these leather bottoms from an Etsy seller, which I'll link them down below. They also make like leather harnesses, which I think is pretty interesting. So their like Etsy handle shop name is called like Leather Trash. But I think it's cool because they use a lot of I think they call it reclaimed leather or like recycled leather. So they it is real leather. It's just like maybe taken from like other garments that they cut up and reform into certain shapes. So this bag is really funny because the bottom of this, I posted a picture on Instagram of the bottom of this bag, just like me starting it out, and everyone was like, is that chocolate cake? Is that chocolate pie? I got so many messages. You can see the progression of events on my Instagram because I saved it in a story highlight thing. But yeah, piegate, very funny. It does really look like chocolate pie though, like if you just see the bottom of it. What can we say? Yeah, not too much to say about it because I don't know anything about crochet and I cannot give you any advice on like how to make this or how to make it better or anything like that. I've worn it out a couple times. It's a pretty small size, like if you actually look at it, because it's like the size of my hand kind of. And the base I believe is like 5 inches, so it's not very big at all, but it does hold like a little sock project and then like my keys and wallet and phone, so that's really all you need to go outside. So it's been good. This is paper yarn. I don't recommend this, so I'm not gonna link it down below. Just buy raffia, like literally any other raffia yarn I feel like would be fine, but I chose this paper yarn because I wanted to try something that was like felt a little bit more matte, because I feel like a lot of raffia yarns can look shiny in certain colors, especially black. But the structural integrity of this bag is in question because, like, I mean, of course, like you can't get a raffia bag either like soaking wet, but this is more susceptible to water damage. So what I did is I took Mod Podge and I put some water into Mod Podge to dilute it, and then I like brushed it over the entire bag sort of, and I felt that kind of helps it be a little bit more resistant to water. And also you can't really see it here, but in the other summer bag that I made, it gives it a little bit of a sheen to it, like a matte sheen that makes it look a little bit more like leather, which is good. Yeah. And I just have a little drawstring bag inside. I carry a lot of like smaller items and they're gonna fall through the holes if I don't yeah, put it in a separate bag. So that's that. Yeah, pretty simple bag. It's just like single crochet and then like whatever the stitch pattern is, and then single crochet again, and then the straps are made from Romanian cord, I think they're called. So pretty simple. If you know how to crochet, give it a go. It's a little bit like disfigured because I didn't get the stitch counts right. when I was going up the rows. So, I mean, if you're a crocheter, I'm sure you'll do a much better job than I do. So that's all the finished objects. And then, oh, no, just kidding. I have another crochet thing. This is so small, but I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's like a good stash busting project if you have a lot of like cotton yarn or something, or you could make it with wool too. It's just got to be like a little bit water absorbent. This is, so I have this cup holder, cup cozy kind of thing for my ice drinks because this is not double walled, so the cup kind of sweats. And I don't like having that ring of, I mean, I put coasters. I use coasters too. None of my furniture is that expensive where it really warrants like water, like protection, whatever. But it's just like whenever I go out and get a drink, I would usually like get napkins and then put them around the cup so that my hands don't get wet. So this is like a way to be a little bit more like eco-friendly. And also just like, I don't drink hot drinks ever. Like even in the winter, I drink ice drinks. So this is also a way to keep my hands not cold while I'm guzzling down ice drinks in the winter. So anyways, yeah, I made this with this version I made like a couple months ago, and this is with Line brand Thick and Quick, I think, that I had. But this one is the new one, new and improved version that I made from scraps, like 4 different yarns that I just had laying around. And this one is made from like cotton, so this is way more absorbent than this one. So this is a new and improved version. It's really easy, obviously. Like it's just, you know, rows of single crochet. No, what is this? Half double crochet all the way around. Just like a rectangle that I made to fit around the size of the cup. And then I seamed it up through up here, and then I did half double crochet again, up like three stitches, just like up and up and up, and then seamed it down on the top with a darning needle. Very simple and easy. Just, yeah, the handle part is what's good, and it hasn't failed me yet. You know, it hasn't like fallen out of my hand and shattered. And you can do this if you gotta like grab something really quickly. So very helpful, very useful. IMO. So that's that guy. Now we're gonna talk about work in progress. I guess it only makes sense to ride the crochet train. I do have one more crochet project, and that is, I guess you've been kind of seeing. Yeah, this is another like bag in progress. When I bought the leather bottom for the other bag that I showed, I bought 2. So this one is just like a cylinder shape. No, what is this? Pill shaped, oval shaped. And the yarn is this is raffia, and it's being reclaimed from another past project that I made with raffia. Let me just show you what it's eating, what it's cannibalizing. Yeah, so I made this raffia bag 2 years ago maybe, and it's I'll put the yarn information down below, but it's like you can buy it on Etsy. I held the yarn like double, and I think I really needed to hold it triple for the type of stability that I needed or wanted, and then I didn't really do a good job with the bottom either. So it's overall not a good bag, not a good make. So you can see that it's like really floppy, and then the bottom is like bowing out a lot. So I didn't like that, and that's kind of the reason why I didn't really use it. And then I made another version last year that I use a lot more. So I had this bag, and then I was just kind of like, all right, well, I'm not gonna really use this anymore. But I do like the color of this yarn, and I didn't want to just throw it out because raffia is like deceptively expensive. So I was like, how can I make use of it? And then I saw this one, I get recommended a lot of like crochet accessories accounts from Korea on my Instagram. So I was like looking through them, and then there's this one, oh God, I don't remember the account name. Yeah, I don't know. But it's this one account, and they have this one specific bag that I was looking at. I will throw up a picture here and then also link them down below, but they have this one bag design that I really liked, and I was actually looking into buying the pattern, but they only seem to sell the stuff for it as a kit. Like, they don't sell the pattern for the bag separately, which is, I mean, I could get it kind of, you know, through a shipping service and get it, you know, ordered over here, but then I didn't really want to buy more, like, materials from scratch. So I took that bag as kind of inspiration, and was snooping around YouTube to find like a similar or like the same stitch pattern, and that's how I got to here. There is a tutorial for a little flat kind of messenger bag on Panu Stories YouTube channel, and I think the stitch is the same, so that I used that with this base of the bag to kind of make my version of that bag, I guess. I mean, it's not as neat as if I would have just used new yarn, because this is, you know, coming out of here like, dang, hold on. This yarn is, you know, it's been used, so it's like super crusty and kind of like crinkly. So I'm having to do a little bit more yarn management as I crochet and try and flatten out the scrunched up yarn as I crochet, which isn't ideal, but I don't crochet very fast anyway, so what's another like 2 seconds of me like kind of like wiggling the yarn around, right? And I'm crocheting with a very small needle. This is a, well, small needle, I think, for the weight of the yarn. This is a 4mm with this raffia yarn held together, and I don't know if I should be doing like 5 or 4.5 instead, but anyways, so that's that. I don't think this is like the neatest job I've done. Again, like, I'm not very good at crocheting, but I am trying to make it as neat as I can, and then I think the smaller needle is helping. And once I finish the bag, I'm going to put something like that will give it some shape, and then I'm going to steam block it and see if I can like kind of mold this to be less like wiggly looking. So that's that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I definitely think I have enough yarn. This is not going to be a very big bag either, and it's going to be like yay tall, and it's going to have straps. So I think it's a good use of existing materials, and you know, the base is pretty sturdy, which I love. So we'll see where I go with that guy. Okay, and now I guess I'll just briefly talk about the existing work in progress that I had carried over from last podcast episode. I didn't really make a ton of progress on like the existing guys. I got too carried away with like new cast-ons. So the Olympe lamp vest by Nepal, I didn't really make any progress on it. This is I think it was also because I like didn't know what yarn to choose. I got kind of sick of picking out new yarns for it. I know this is like kind of stupid, but I just didn't really feel like knitting on this because it's got multiple strands of yarn that I have to knit together. And I don't love knitting on bigger needles is what I'm finding. Like, this is definitely goes faster, but this is a 5mm, but at a certain point I feel like the quickness of my knitting decreases, like the bigger the needles get, if that makes any sense. Is that dumb? I don't know. But I feel like when I'm knitting with fingering weight yarn, it's like flying. I knit kind of pretty quickly, especially if it's just like knitting or stockinette. But this has been a little bit harder for me. I'm just gonna try and finish this row while we're here. So that's that guy. And I guess the next one that I had in progress is the... Well, let me just finish this before I start talking about it. But I have a lot of new cast-ons this time around. Like 4. I mean, if you count the crochet project, that's like a lot more than usual. Which shows my mental state. In a state of new right now. New. Yes. The other existing one that I have is the Beyond Basic sweatshirt. It's in the same state as the last time I showed it. I think because I left off at a point where it was like a good stopping place, I felt not terrible, just like not knitting on it for some reason, like mentally. Like I need to pick up the stitches back here. And I don't know, somehow that felt like more work to me than casting something new on. Brain? How does that work? I don't know. So I don't really have an update on this guy. Is that it? From last time? Oh, I was also working on a sock, wasn't I? Yeah, the sock. I didn't cast on the second sock. I got second sock syndrome. So, what can I say? I know you're supposed to knit it 2 at a time, but the 2 at a time thing is like not, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about 2 at a time socks. But instead of a sock as a transit project, I had this guy as my transit project for a while. This is the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. And I'm at a place where I just need to knit just straight stockinette up, and then I'm like pretty much done. It's just that the stockinette up part is like a lot of knitting because with the Oslo hat, I mean, obviously it's supposed to be like a triple folded brim. So I've already done the hard part of like doing the brim. I just need to like knit up the rest of the hat. And this is a gift for a friend. And I've knit this with Barocco Vintage, which is a sport weight yarn, but it feels more like DK to me. Maybe I just don't understand like yarn categories, but I'm knitting this on 3.5mm needles, which is recommended needle size. So this is like the first pattern in a while that I'm not really knitting off gauge, which is wild to me. It doesn't happen very often. I never hit gauge with anything that I knit, unfortunately. So yeah, so this has just been in progress as I like travel around and such. A nice little project, and I will be done sometime. It's like if I just knit on this mindlessly, it'll get done pretty quickly. It's just that I have been preoccupied with another project that I will mention last. Oh my god, this is all tangled. I don't know what's going on. Please hold. Okay, well, the next work in progress, this is also a new cast on, this is the Moonset Tee by Ozetta. Well, yikes, you can't tell what's going on at all. Oh man. Okay, let me try putting it on. But yeah, so this is the back part. This is the back yoke part. And then I finished knitting the front V-neck part of the yoke. And now the next thing I have to do is knit the right front section of the yoke. And then I can join in the round and it'll be stockinette city from there. This I don't know. I feel like this is going pretty fast. Like, this is a fingering weight, knitted up using Knitting for Olive silk in the colorway Dove Blue. And this is the first time that I'm using Knitting for Olive pure silk, and I really like it. I feel like this splits a lot less than the Colourmart silk that I use, which makes sense because this is like actually meant for use as a hand knitting yarn. So it's got a more of a like a weave to it, spin. You know what I'm talking about. Feels a little bit more like it's meant to be a hand knitting yarn, because it is, and it's softer. But it doesn't feel as smooth. Like, this feels a little more I don't know what the best term is, like a little more worn in feeling than the Colourmart silk that I use. The Colourmart silk feels really like smooth, almost like a smooth like mercerized cotton. This one it feels, if we're talking about like cotton, right? Like, I feel like this feels a little bit more like jersey. I know we're talking about silk, but that's just like the vibe that I'm getting. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. I think I would definitely knit with this yarn more in the future. I will have to report back on how hot I feel wearing it. But so far, it seems to have, you know, pretty good drape. And the overall, how do I say this? I'm knitting this on 3mm needles, and the original pattern I think suggests you knit it with 3.25. But I hit gauge with 3. I would say if you want a more airy fabric, this, you know, this feels like you can kind of see my face through it. But if you want even more airy fabric, I definitely think you could do a 3.25 or 3.5 even, depending on your gauge. So yeah, there is some rowing out, but that's inevitable with me. I just live with it. But it's, yeah, I like it. I don't know, like, one thing about the Moonset Tee though that I'm kind of concerned is that I feel like my row gauge was pretty off from what was what was written in the pattern, and I'm not sure why that is, and it was off by like a lot, like 10 rows. So instead of, how do I say this? I kind of felt like, though, if I went by the centimeter measurements that are given, like, you know how it says, like, for the yoke, knit until, like, 15 centimeters, whatever. I feel like if I went by that, then the arms might be really tight also. I know that's, like, part of the design of the garment is that, like, it's pretty wide this way, but then the sleeves are supposed to be a little bit more closer fitting to the arm. But yeah, I just didn't want that to happen because I feel like it would look really stupid proportionally. So I went off by the row count that they give in the pattern rather than the centimeters. Yeah, but I wasn't really measuring anything as I was working on this. So we'll, you know, time will tell if I've made the right decision or not. I think the main thing is just like, I don't want the V of the V-neck to be too deep. But so far it seems to be going okay. So yeah, I don't know. I'll report back on how this turns out. Maybe if I'm diligent with it, I'll finish this before the summer goes away. And then the last work in progress that I have, this is a big boy. This is a big guy. I've made a lot of progress, and I'm I am here to report to you that this is my second seamed garment ever. But it's really like my first, because the first one that I made was like my first ever sweater, and it kind of was bad, and I did the seaming pretty badly too. So I'm going to erase, I'm going to do Men in Black erase and say that this is like my first one. But it's this guy. Oh wow, it looks really like bright on camera. This is the back of the cardigan. Oh yeah, I should say what it is. This is a cardigan. This is my attempt to replicate one of the MiuMiu cardigans that came out, I think last year. It was like spring summer 2022 question mark. I'll throw up a picture here, but it's my attempt to copy that guy. And this, you can tell that I've made the swatch over here, and this is what that has turned into. And this is the back panel, and then I'm going to knit the front panels, and then the pattern that I'm kind of using as a guide is recommending the arms also be knit separately and then seamed up. But TBD on that, I might just like pick up the stitches around the armhole and then like do short rows to kind of shape the arms. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I've made some pretty decent progress on this guy. And I feel like this is like a very, I know a couple of different knitters, especially Korean knitters, that have knit this, a version of this up. And obviously this is a copy of an existing brand item, designer item. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what I did necessarily, but like, look at this guy. You can definitely figure it out. Like, it's not hard. It's just garter sections up here, and then like, what is this? Eyelet stitch. This is not a novel creation by any means, but I think what really sells it is this like color combination of the white and the blue, which makes it a very like summery poppy thing. So yeah, ever since I saw it, I was just kind of like, all right, that seems like something that I could definitely do. So, which is why I did that. And I'm using I think I could definitely attempt at this without a pattern, but then I don't know, something about brain, I just needed a jumping off point. So I used a free pattern from Rowan as a guide for me with like shaping the armhole and shoulder, as well as like the starting stitch count. But then I'm knitting this off gauge because the yarn that I'm using is worsted weight, and the yarn is Hobbii Friends wool in the colorway. We got a thing right here. It's in the colorway 85, and I believe that's like cobalt blue or whatever. So that's the blue color, and then the white is a drops yarn. Oh shit! I should not have done that. Hold on. The white yarn is drops Nepal, and just white. It's the one that's like wool and alpaca blend. This one is thicker than the Friends wool, by a smidge. But I don't think it matters that much because the white is being used as stripes, and it's supposed to be like eyelet anyways, so it has space to kind of like fill in towards the middle where the holes are, kind of. So that's that. That's the back panel, and this is one of the this is the left front that I'm working on, and I'm almost like done. I just need to do the shoulder and neck shaping on this guy, and once I seam it up, I'll like pick up for the button band and the neck band as well. But I guess my worry is that I knit this to be a little bit too big It's because I did the math wrong a couple times. And the center for the... How do I explain this? I started knitting the back and I looked at this and I was like, girly, that is huge. I feel like you're going to regret having that be that huge. So I made the adjustment where for the armhole, I like cast off more stitches so that when I knit the front panel, I was like, I'll knit the front panel to be smaller so that like the side seam won't be directly on the side, so it'll kind of overlap towards the front a little bit like that, so that the overall garment would be smaller, if you catch my drift. But then for the front, I did the math wrong again, and then I like didn't decrease by the right number of stitches. Like if you look at the Rowan pattern, you're supposed to knit the vertical button band up together as you're knitting the garment, and then I didn't deduct the number of the button band. So the front ended up being bigger than, like, much bigger than I expected. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to like undo all of this work. So I think I'm going to seam up this. I'm gonna finish knitting this. I'm gonna seam it up to one of the sides. I'm gonna put it on, and I'm going to see if I need to deduct the number of button band stitches from the front panel somehow. And I think I'm going to steek. Is that dumb? Is that chaotic? Like, I think I'm going to add the button band, or like, yeah, I'm gonna like basically try and steek away like the number of stitches that I should have not cast on, if that makes any sense, and then just like do the button band that way. TBD. Maybe it won't be that big of a deal. I do like my garments to be a little bit roomier in the top, roomier in general. So it might not be that big of a deal, but I just won't know until I like finish it and put it on and look at it. This is so chaotic. But yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? Like if it sucks, do it again. And I really thought I would hate, I don't know, hate knitting this in pieces, but I so far don't really mind it. I might change my mind by the time I get to the seaming, but it's just that I could have also knit the entire body in one piece, and you know, I could have like put stitches on hold and broke it off into sections to work on like the decreases for the armholes and the shoulders. But I do think that would have been kind of unwieldy, because you see the size of this garment already from the back, just from the back, and I would have had to add more stitches that I was knitting and working with at one time. So I don't know, this kind of gives you a sense of accomplishment as you finish different pieces. That's that. I'm excited to see how this will turn out. I think the real bigger question for me is like, how do I do the collar on this guy? I've never knitted up a collar like that on a garment, I don't think. This is supposed to be like a Peter Pan kind of collar. I think Nicole from Cool Stitches, she's done collar shaping on a cardigan before with like short rows, so I might have a look at what she did and then kind of try and figure out how to do that on mine. Or I could, I guess, also like knit the collar flat and then sew it on, but then that seems not fun. So yeah, we're working on this. We're coming for our MiuMiu cha, even though she's a multi-millionaire billionaire and I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. That's it. That's what I'm working on. I think there might be more projects that are just chilling and hiding around. I almost feel like these episodes should be weekly, because I'm so bad at keeping track of what I'm actually working on. So every time I have to film a new podcast episode, I have to go through the description box of my old episode and then kind of like make a list of all the things that I have to talk about in this one. So I'm probably forgetting something, but you know, it's not a scientific research channel. You're not here for that. You're here for entertainment. So, although if you are curious about scientific research channels, this is a tangent, so you can leave if you don't want to hear about this anymore. But like, the whole thing with the Titanic, the Titan, the submarine, that kind of sent me off into like a YouTube spiral of like watching videos about like deep sea diving and like, I'm sure this is a universal experience for anybody who was, you know, kind of following that. Yeah, very, very terrifying. Watching those like kind of makes me feel like I can never go anywhere, you know, like, so I have to like stop doing that at a certain point, because like there's all those channels that like focus on building like building collapse disasters, and then they also do like bridge collapse disasters, and then they also do like fires, train wrecks, airplane disasters, and now ships. Like, I can't go anywhere apparently every time I go on a bridge. Every time you're driving on the BQE in New York, you're just kind of like, this could collapse at any minute. Anyways, okay. Hope everybody's well. What are you guys knitting? Are you guys in full summer swing? I feel like I've been having a pretty good mixture of like woolly things and summery things that's been keeping things interesting. And I think that part of it is because I don't have any summer yarns really anymore, so I'm limited in my what I can knit necessarily. So that's that. All right, well, hope you guys are having a good day wherever you are, and whenever you're watching this. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye. See you later. Have a good day, etc.